An OU fraternity is no longer under investigation, gun laws are a hot topic on Capitol Hill, and mental health services are few and far between in Oklahoma. This is OU Nightly. Well, good evening and welcome to OU Nightly. I'm Jaycie Bayless.
And I'm Matt Marks. We start tonight with news that the Delta Upsilon fraternity is no longer on suspension. DU, an OU fraternity, was under investigation at the end of January and was suspended from all campus activities. Now, the university has ended the investigation and lifted all school sanctions, but OU has yet to release a statement at this time. But stick with OU Nightly as we continue to update you on this matter. Now, controversy over natural gas fracking in Norman is so great that the city of Norman was forced to postpone a meeting on the topic. Among the concerns, that Arrowhead Energy is asking the city of Norman for special permission to lower the amount of insurance required for it to drill in East Norman. OU Nightly's Michael Bohling joins us now live with the story. Michael.
That's right, Jaycie. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding Arrowhead Energy and fracking in Norman. The group Stop Plains All-American Pipeline are here today in an attempt to stop that fracking from taking place here in Norman. Today's meeting was likely postponed due to their presence, but the group says this isn't the first time this has occurred.
So Board of Adjustments meetings are every month, so they don't have, we do these at least once a month because Arrowhead keeps postponing them due to our presence. We also have city council meetings that we regularly try to attend when it comes to issues regarding the environment.
We're not sure when the meeting will finally take place, but that's all for now. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Michael. Oklahoma lawmakers are taking the first steps to debating 3 different bills that would impact gun laws in our state. House Bill 3192 passed out of committee today. It would allow schools to designate any school employee who has a gun license to be armed at school. Current law allows only those who have law enforcement or security guard training to carry a gun in school. Also being discussed in the Public Safety Committee today, 2 bills that would eliminate the need for a gun license. One would mean no license is needed for a gun on private property. The other would allow anyone who can legally purchase a gun to carry it in any public place that does not already prohibit firearms.
Now, thoughts and prayers are not enough. That's a direct quote from one of the nation's largest sports retailers. Dick's Sporting Goods announced today that it will immediately stop selling assault-style rifles. Dick's has several locations in Oklahoma, including one in Moore. Dick's is also calling on lawmakers to enact what they call common sense gun laws. Dick's CEO Ed Stack acknowledged that the shooter made a shotgun purchase at Dick's in November. The store has also raised the age a person can purchase guns and magazines to 21 years old. And joining us now is actually Norman Police Chief Keith Humphreys. Chief, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Chief.
Oh, of course.
Well, with that announcement today by Dick's Sporting Goods and the bills proposed today at the state capitol, there's no doubt that guns, laws, and policies are a very hot topic right now. What is the Norman Police Department doing to discuss in recent events of the school shootings in Florida? What is the police department doing?
Our main focus is going to be education. We're educating our community regarding the danger of guns. Our main focus is to ensure that when citizens, we don't want to violate anyone's Second Amendment right, but we want people to understand that there should be certain categories for individuals to be able to purchase weapons. I think age is age appropriate, non-felony convictions, and there's some other stipulations that we believe, and I as a police chief believe, that should be enacted to prevent this type of thing from happening again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
What can you tell us about arming teachers here in Norman, on Norman
Norman
campuses?
Public Schools?
That's a very, that's an interesting topic. I'm totally against that. I believe that, teachers have a function of teaching, and I think that that's one of the things that they should be focused on. I think that there are other avenues to protect students and to protect teachers. You have to understand the concern is the proficiency of an individual that's carrying a weapon. If you just can't arm a person and expect them to be proficient if an incident occurs if they haven't had the proper training. I think there are a lot of teachers that are hesitant to actually carry weapons in a place of education.
Right.
And I support that. I support that we shouldn't be doing that. That shouldn't be allowed.
Right. So what kind of security is there, currently in Norman Public Schools?
A couple of years ago, we partnered with the schools, and we have a school resource officer program. There are Norman officers that work in the Norman Public Schools. We have officers in the high schools, officers in the middle schools. The program will eventually have a total of 13 officers. And so our main focus is safety, security. It's long term, so it's not, we don't look for it as reactive, we look for it as proactive. We want the students and the teachers to feel safe. Amazing partnership with the schools. And parents are really happy with the program to know that you do have that security measure in place. And the officers are well trained.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Elvis.
Thank you, too.
From the Norman Police Department, thank you, Chief.
Right, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, also this afternoon, more on a gun reform at our nation's capital. President Trump is meeting with lawmakers to discuss ideas, and Taitum Wilson has more in the News Center.
That's right. Students returned to classes today in Parkland, Florida. And in Washington, President Trump met with bipartisan lawmakers to discuss gun violence, calling out 2 senators over raising the legal age to buy firearms.
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Look, I think
You know why? Because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
No, an issue back. Go to the NRA 5 years ago.
Trump says he will issue an executive order to ban bump stocks, devices that allow semi-automatic weapons to fire more rapidly. In the meeting, the president also outlined his top priorities to combat gun violence in schools. He wants to permit more guns in schools, confront mental health, ensure authorities act quickly, and strengthen background checks. And this morning, the president took to Twitter to publicly criticize Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Trump condemned Sessions for an investigation into surveillance abuses, calling his approach disgraceful. Sessions responded to Trump's tweet in a statement, saying the Justice Department initiated the appropriate process, ensuring complaints will be fairly acted upon. Yesterday, Sessions said the Justice Department is looking at whether the FBI properly handled applications for surveillance orders. Trump's tweet is just the latest in a long battle of public controversy with Sessions. And White House Communications Director Hope Hicks is resigning. Her resignation comes after she spent yesterday testifying before the House Intelligence Committee. Hicks has drawn scrutiny of Special Counsel Robert Mueller over her role in a misleading statement about Trump Jr.'s meeting with a Russian lawyer in 2016. Hicks is one of President Trump's longest-serving and closest aides. And the head of the U.S. Olympic Committee is out. Scott Blackmun is resigning in the wake of the Dr. Larry Nassar scandal. Susan Lyons will take over as the acting CEO. The organization will establish new funding and resources to support the abused gymnasts. And a new CDC report released today says that 1 in 14 women in the U.S. still smoke while pregnant.
Thanks, Taitum. A new resolution is working its way through the Oklahoma Senate that would give Oklahomans a say in changing the voting majority requirement on tax increases. Under this resolution, the number of votes needed would go from a 3/4 majority to a 3/5 majority and would only apply to sales taxes. The bill was approved by the Senate Rules Committee earlier today and now moves to the Senate floor.
Well, I'm sure you noticed, but it was drizzling all day yesterday and still had to put on a rain jacket this morning.
It's crazy. This weather is going back and forth, back and forth. It just
Right,
needs to stay
it's now
somewhere.
shorts, right? Shorts in the afternoon, humid as always.
Crazy.
Oh, well, Caroline, what can you tell us about this ever-changing weather?
So we might have had shorts today, but I've got bad news for you, Jaycie. There's actually another cold front coming through. So looking across Oklahoma, you can see all of the clouds out there. Currently, our winds are at 17 miles per hour. That's in front of the cold front that's on its way. So right now, it's at 68. But looking at your evening planner, we're going to be dropping rapidly. By midnight, we're going to be at 50, and our winds are really going to begin to ramp up. We could see gusts of up to 25 miles per hour tonight. Stick around though, because coming up, I'm going to give you more information on that cold front, including the temperatures to expect for tomorrow and our next rain chance. Back to you guys at the desk.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Caroline. And still ahead on OU Nightly, Oklahoma is taking steps to try to prevent more earthquakes from happening.
Plus, southern states find themselves with much needed rain, but some unwanted consequences.
Well, it seems that Oklahoma isn't the only place to see rain and flooding recently.
Abby Green is with us for Earth Report. Abby.
Recent rain and floods have taken the southern U.S. by storm. Flash flood warnings were issued for Oklahoma, Texas, and other states through tomorrow. The National Weather Service is predicting areas south of Kentucky through the Gulf could get anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inches. Kentucky Metropolitan Sewer Director Wes Sidner claims the department received around 1,500 calls and have pumped 21 billion gallons of water. And Oklahoma is cracking down on fracking. Recent studies of earthquakes have shown that Oklahoma is a prominent place for drilling in the U.S. Oklahoma officials have counted over 70 earthquakes of at least 2.5 magnitude that are linked to fracking. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission announced that in certain areas, a seismic array must be used, which will detect movement underground. Regulators also lowered the quake threshold from 3.0 to 2.5. And across the globe, Europe is covered in snow. Britain was hit with sub-zero temperatures today, forcing transportation delays with hundreds of school closures. Several roads across the country have also been closed, and England and Kent being some of the worst areas affected. Freezing winds mean temperatures might not make it above freezing and will continue to plunge overnight. Well, I know we had some freezing temperatures here in Oklahoma last week.
I was like, not enough to stop the transportation.
It stopped school for sure, though.
Yeah. Oh, those snow days. I guess ice
it was
days.
great.
The best vacation anybody could ask for.
Exactly.
For real.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby.
Still ahead on OU Nightly, a tennis star's welcome surprise before hitting the court.
Plus, Caroline Brown will have more on what to expect this weekend.
That's right, we've got a cold front blowing through tonight, and we're going to see some spring temperatures. Stick around. OU Nightly. Taking a live look outside our Oklahoma City cam, it looks like it's a pretty beautiful sunset over there. A lot of clouds in the sky. Currently, we're in the upper 60s, but the winds are really starting to gust out there. We have sustained winds of 17 miles per hour. Now that's associated with a cold front that's going to be pushing its way through. So this is what we saw earlier today. The rain came through. For most of us here in Oklahoma, we didn't get an abundance of rain, but out there in southeast Oklahoma, they saw a lot of rain. So here's the rainfall deficit for the state. You see, most of Oklahoma has been getting a sufficient amount of rain. In fact, out here in Idabel, they've gotten over 7 inches of rain in the last week. Here in Norman, we've only gotten about 2.5. But if you look in the Panhandle, they really need that rain. In fact, tonight they have an elevated fire risk due to strong winds and all the dry conditions. Now, those strong winds are associated with the cold front, which is really going to help us cool down overnight. We're going to be in the upper 30s for most of the state. Last night, folks, we were in the 50s, so definitely a big change from yesterday into today. You're going to feel it as you're walking to class tomorrow. It's going to be 40 at 8 a.m., but those winds is really going to cool it down the way it feels. We're going to see gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Now we're going to be warming up only into the mid-50s, so this is normal for this time of year. This is what we expect to see during the springtime. The thing that's going to be different are those strong winds. So for tomorrow, we're going to have a very chilly morning and very, very gusty. We're going to be warming up on Friday, and those winds are going to calm down a little bit. So we're going to have a beautiful couple of days, and our winds are going to be coming from the south. That's going to allow the moisture to come back in just in time for another system to blow through, giving us our next chance for rain on Sunday. But overall, it's going to be a beautiful couple of days just in time, especially because tomorrow's actually the first day of spring.
Wow. I cannot wait for spring weather.
I can't wait either. It needs to be here quick.
Yeah.
Me too. Storm season.
Yay, severe weather. Awesome. Well, thank you, Caroline.
Of course.
Well, Matt, OU has actually seen some recent losses.
That is true, but Shiloh is here to tell us about how OU has found some wins outside the game.
That's right. Levi Anderson and Trey Young were both named with honors yesterday in a call Cowboy fans have been waiting for. You don't want to miss this. Sports is up next. And welcome back. Missed opportunities and bear claws. We're not talking donuts, we're talking men's basketball. Sooners fell 87-64 against the Baylor Bears. Sooners seemed sluggish on the court last night, only shooting 37% as a team. And a usually big scorer for the Sooners, Trae Young, only had 18 points compared to the 44 he dropped last time these two teams battled. Certainly not the road game they were hoping for. And moving to the women's side, and still no win here. Texas hooked a win, beating the Sooners 79-66, ending the girls' 4-game winning streak. Viennese Pierre-Louise made last night her 15th straight game to score double digits. Lucky for the ladies, they have first-round byes going into the Big 12 tournament this weekend. They take the court Saturday. And from court to dirt, Christian, how's baseball doing?
Well, Shiloh, it's a long season with plenty of time to improve, so I'm not worried about it yet. And after a grueling but successful weekend yesterday, the Sooners headed south to Dallas to face Dallas Baptist. It was a pitching duel until the Sooners struck first in the fourth. Sophomore Nathan Wiles held it down on the mound, throwing 5 scoreless innings, but the run support just wasn't there. Unfortunately, Dallas Baptist Cody Funderburg decided to throw lights out as well. The pressure was just too much for the Sooners as they allowed 3 runs in the 7th. Finally, the 9th inning came around with a score of 5-1 when dual sports star Kyler Murray hit a leadoff bomb run to try and spark a rally. Sadly, it was too little too late, and the Sooners fell 5-2. However, they do return home for a 13-game homestand beginning with Alabama. Shiloh?
Thanks, Christian. Oklahoma gymnast Levi Anderson was named NCAA Gymnast of the Week, making him the 3rd Sooner to collect the national honor. Anderson also posted career highs on steel rings and parallel bars to boost a career high all-around score of 86.1, the 2nd highest score in the nation this season. The guys have the week off but plan to take the mat March 10th for their senior night. And Anderson wasn't the only Sooner for awards. Trae Young was named one of the 10 semifinalists for the James A. Trophy. Currently, Young leads NCAA in both scoring and assists, a feat not yet accomplished by anyone. He also surpassed the 800-point mark in the Sooner game against the Baylor Bears that we talked about earlier. The finalists are expected to be announced mid-March. And after years of whining, Cowboy fans now get to say, "I told you so." New York Giants owner John Mara commented yesterday that the competition committee unanimously agreed that Des Bryant did in fact catch the ball in the Cowboys' 2014 playoff loss to the Green Bay Packers. The committee plans to amend the rules to prevent missed calls in the future. And we all scream for ice cream, but what would you do for some pizza? Well, if you're this college student like Kyle Hughes, not only will you make an amazing half-court shot, but you are also going to celebrate like you won more than just a couple dozen pizzas. That is for sure.
Well, and the thing is they were mediums, right?
Yes, not largest.
Not
mediums.
even a large pizza. Come on.
He was happy about it, though.
You know, I mean,
and it's still like a good amount of pizzas. Like that can feed like a somewhat army.
As a college student, you take what you can get, right?
Exactly.
that is so true. Well, thanks, Shiloh.
Well, still to come on OU Nightly, if you think you and your significant other are a couple goals, you'll want to stick around to see who you have to beat. Stay with us.
I'm Katelyn Howard at the OU Nightly Update Desk. We have breaking news from Georgia. Within the last hour, a teacher at Dalton High School in Dalton barricaded himself inside a classroom and fired a handgun once in what was a possible warning shot. No students were in the classroom at the time the shot was fired, and the only injury reported was a student who hurt her ankle during the evacuation. The teacher, Jaycie Randall Davidson, was put into custody after a 30 to 45 minute standoff with officers. It's not clear what charges Davidson will face. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Well, thank you, Katelyn. Now, Serena Williams got a lovely present as she heads back to the court to compete in the 2018 BNP Paribas Open. And no, it's not what you'd expect. Williams' husband surprised her with 4 billboards of her newborn daughter, Alexis Jr. Now, the billboards line I-10 in Palm Springs, which is coincidentally the path that Williams takes as she'll head to her next tournament. Now, 4 billboards, I can't even imagine that on my own face, right?
That's one famous baby.
That's
right there.
like 6 months old. She's got 4 billboards already with her face on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, Katelyn, we talked a lot about rain, and I have a feeling that has to do with your weather facts.
Yes, it does. So most of Oklahoma has been well above average for February. Norman has received almost double its average for February, and Tulsa also doubled its average. Norman, we received almost 3.5 inches of rain, which is pretty remarkable, especially because of how dry the panhandle has been.
For sure. Well, thank you, Caroline. Well, and thank you all for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College here on OU's campus.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.